And in '69 January, I reached Kenya by ship. I was straight away posted to the Diocese of Kisii. So with my friends, we traveled by train from Mombasa, first to Nairobi and then to Kisumu. And there I was waiting for transport up to the hills of Kisii. Kisii has been a lovely diocese where I was able to work for 30 full years until the year 2000.
I'm Sister Margaret Bradbury, Franciscan Missionary of St. Joseph. Also, we are known as the Mill Hill Sisters. And I came to Kenya in September 1968. And I was appointed to Nabaruru in Kisii Diocese to teach in the girls' high school there.
If I now talk about Father John Kaiser, we knew each other right from our studies in Mill Hill. I got to know him as a very, very strong late vocation. He came from Minnesota in the States, and together with another Mill Hill candidate, Father Barnacle, they were really very strong leaders amongst the Mill Hill missionaries or the Mill Hill team students there in Mill Hill. What very much surprised me, the way how Kaiser talked, and I couldn't understand him because I was very poor in English at that time. And he was using this American dialect, American pronunciation, so I found it very difficult to follow him when he was trying to talk to me. And he was really after me, trying to explain to me a bit better life in England and so weiter. Slowly we got used to each other very well. So he took me out also on a monthly basis to do some hunting. But all he did hunt there were just doves, nothing else. So we went out with his gun, and there we walked and walked and walked there on the farms. And then he was very, very pleased to be able to shoot at a flying dove. Great he was, especially also in sports. Strong as he was, tall as he was a very good basketball player. I also joined his team, and but he was all the time ahead. With his long arms and his body, he could almost put the ball right into the basket. Also, he was a very good rugby player. I really admired that game, but myself I could never. I tried to join a few times, but no, I didn't manage. It was a rough game. I felt also very fast. I could not, but I admired Father Kaiser, how he managed to play that. So I was ordained 2 years after him. When he was ordained, straight away he was sent to Kenya, to Kisii diocese. So when I got there, I met him there. At that time he was mainly teaching in the minor seminary of Rakwaro. But then, on weekends, on Saturday, Sunday, these young priests who were taking over the seminary, they were all doing pastoral work in different parishes, including in the parish where I started to be a curate, and that is near Bororo.
And I was appointed to Nabaruru in Kisii diocese to teach in the girls' high school there. It had just become a secondary school, and a government secondary school sponsored by the diocese. And then in January 1969, Father Adolf arrived also in Nabaruru. Again, Father Kaiser, I found, was a missionary, a Mill Hill missionary, working in Kisii diocese. When I arrived in Kenya, he was there. He had already left Nabaruru, but he had been there. And again, his mark was already left. Father Kaiser was a very strong man. And we heard he'd been a lumberjack in his early days, and he could build churches, big logs, big things he would carry and build the churches, build the outstations. Again, so there were many outstations in Kisii that Father Kaiser helped build. And again, he was very committed to working and upgrading the lives of people, all those he met. Another great love he had was for nature. To him, the Masai Mara was the next thing to heaven. And he would love to go there. He would take you any opportunity, he would take you to the Masai Mara, to be there, nature, to walk. That was his greatest joy.
Father Kaiser, being there teaching the seminarians in Rakwaro Seminary, also having a license of hunting, he provided regularly all the students with bushmeat. He was a very good teacher, I hear, there in Rakwaro. They really loved him. They got used to his American pronunciation. I also got used to that. So we continued to be good friends. Of course, then The problem started then when the elections were there. Was it in, I think, in 1997, at that time about, where the idea was now to continue to have the chance to give other people also give their opinions and so on. So at that time then things started to be very sad. Meanwhile, Father Kaiser was taken away from Nanguso, and he now went to the diocese of Ngong. And the first parish, which again he built completely new, was Lolgorian. There he went, and it was not very far away from Kilgoris, but the road there was very, very bad. But he went there and he built everything new. And but then, of course, then problems started. Kilgoris was not far away. There was a politician there in Kilgoris. That politician was harassing young girls. He made the two of them pregnant. They were very young, school children, and they came then to Father Kaiser. And Father Kaiser then he tried to find out a bit better, and then he called upon the I think it's the women group, those who were defending the life of children. So he had connections then, made connections. Also went to Bishop, to Cardinal Lutunga to get his advice, what to do and so on. And yeah, then of course he then accused this big man, minister of that area, and then really trouble started. From that time then he was not anymore safe.
And I think that he was also very committed to any principles that he had. And when he had been moved and he'd gone to Narok diocese, then he met the injustices that were taking place, and he stood up for the rights of the people who had been displaced, and he wanted to speak out against them. So perhaps a very human, very personal thing was the government didn't like this, so they wanted Father Kaiser to leave. He was an American, and he forgot 1 year to renew his entry permit. And they made that an opportunity to say he was illegal in the country and they wanted him to go. But people by then knew him for his work and how he stood up for justice and peace.
But he left the door open, and I said, well, anyway, I must fight for justice for my people. And then also at that time was the time when many people were chased away from that area of Kilgoris. Mainly they were Kisi people, and so there were riots, there were burning down of houses, a lot of them. It was a terrible bloodshed. So many people came to our place there, different places, for refuge. They had nowhere to go. Everything was lost and so on. So again, Father Kaiser saw that, and he also said, now, this must stop. What else can I say about Father Kaiser? And then afterwards, he became then a persona non gratis. So the government didn't want him anymore. So what did he do? He knew it. He had to hide. Because also the government said you have no work permit anymore. The work permit is now finished. So he can be sent home anytime. And yet his work was still there. And then his life was not safe. So he came also to our parishes. I was at that time in Gaetano at that time already. And there were the sisters there also, and other priests. So he was hiding in our place. Sometimes sleeping in the convent, sometimes sleeping in the parish house or in one of the sheds there. Then I had to take him to Kaiser. He was staying there in the bishop's house. And then I took him away again. He went to stay somewhere in Ibruru with another sisters group there. Just hiding himself everywhere. He knew if they get him, well, that is the end. Thanks God, then what happened then is that the government then said, well, they were under pressure from the American embassy, so they extended now his work permit.
But we had to have him in hiding because we knew the government, the law enforcers were looking to get him out of the country, to displace him. So people were working around and trying. So they had him in hiding in different places, in Kaiser, parishes and places. And eventually, because of the outcry, he was permitted to stay. And I remember it was Father Alleluia who had gone that night to fetch him. He didn't know, he was just moving him from one place to another. He'd come to Nabarur and said he was going to get Father Kaiser. I was the one who had a telephone. There weren't many telephones in those days. And so I got a phone call after he had gone. My father got to get Father Kaiser to say he could stay. So the work permit had been renewed.
And then he was now, in a way, he was free. And from that time now, he was then going and stay with the landless, for the people, for the internally displaced people. He stayed near Navasha there, and that area, and the big camp there. He just decided to stay with them and see that they have food. He was trying to supply them with food and give them encouragement. And also that the government would also see what was going on. And I remember one day he told me, when he was there, they came, I don't know, was it the police or was it the army? They came there and they just packed him into their car. They put him in the back of the car, just in the luggage place, closed the door and drove him there to Naivasha. There, near Naivasha, they let him go. So there he was, all by himself, and naturally afraid of something. This was a good warning, a strong warning for him. But he continued going back again, and he did not give up. he had any connections also with the civil rights people where he went. But now much more I cannot say, because at that time then I went home for leave. And it is there, when I was at home for holiday, when I was notified, when I heard that Father Kaiser was killed there near Navasha somewhere. A very, very sad news for me at that time. But we was prepared, but we know, yes, something might happen to Father John Kaiser, to my friend. So, naturally. So that is about all, I think.
Thank you.
Yeah, but it's of course, yeah, my ceaseless pronunciation and so on. Okay, yeah. I introduce myself first for my story. I'm Adolf Böll, the place where I was working.